Hello everybody, Eyal Levi here with URM Academy Nail the Mix, and I'm going to unbox 365 by Amaranthe, which was produced and mixed by one of my favorite producers and mixers, Mr. Jacob Hansen, and this is appearing on March 2019's Nail the Mix. So, before anything else, let me just play what the raw tracks sound like as they are. Alright, and as you can see, as per usual with these unboxings, there's no plugins except for this one, Stereo Imager. Honestly, I don't know why that's there, but it's there. But besides that, there's some basic leveling that had to be done because there is an insane track count, especially when you get down to these vocals. I mean, wow. So this band has 3 vocalists, 2 guys and a girl, and they are phenomenal vocalists, which we will get into, and the vocal arrangements are top-notch. But before we get to that, let's talk about the production. So we have drums, a bass DI, rhythm guitar with DIs, keyboards, electronics, synths, and then vocals. Whole lot of vocals. God, look at the amount of layers. So, all right, let's get into this. We'll start with the drums, and looks like a fairly dense production. I mean, so we've got 2 bass drums, both in and out mics, snare top and bottom. We've got tops and bottoms for 4 toms. Looks like a stereo overhead, hat and ride mic, left china, right china, splash, stack, an ambient room, an ambient far room, so I'm guessing this is a close room, and an MS room. Okay, that's what the stereo imager was for. It's quite the, quite a good amount of drum inputs here. And before we start playing this, I just want to remind you that if you're mixing these tracks, just because something is included doesn't mean you have to use it. Just because it's included in these multi-tracks doesn't mean that the mixer used it. This is the tracking session, okay? Just keep that in mind, because I know that some of you get confused about what to do with a bunch of rooms. I mean, this isn't a crazy amount of rooms, actually, but I'm just saying, you don't have to use them. I mean, you can try, but you don't have to. All right, let's hear these drums. Those drums sound really, really good. Now, I think that this kick is obviously meant to be replaced, which is typical in metal, but that snare sounds really, really good. Good sounding cymbals, good sounding rooms. Let's hear some more drums. Yeah, and those fills are played in a way and at a tempo where you can make them sound really big. It's not too many hits, not too much stuff going on, just well arranged, well played, solid. Oh, that's tasty. I love fills like that that are just, you know, they're not crazy, but they're just the right kind of fill. Just well played, well articulated. I mean, it's hit hard with authority, and it goes into that next part with just utmost awesomeness. And maybe you noticed that this hat right here, this hat part, sounds really nice. This is some good sounding room action in this. Jacob Hansen has a good room. I'm guessing that's where they recorded this. I know he recorded it, but I'm guessing this is done at his place. Yeah, this is a good drummer. You can tell. Check that out. That is tasteful. I love drummers who can do a lot, but instead of doing a lot, they do the right thing. You got a lot to work with these drums. All right, let's break down the individual elements. So, like I said, I think that these kicks are, these bass drums, actually, not kicks, they're meant to be replaced, but you know, you can try to get a good sound with them if you want. But obviously they're real kicks because you can hear it. So hear this snare top and bottom. And you could just tell that this drummer knows how to hit. Really good snare sound too. I'm going to add the overheads in. Actually, I'm going to play the overheads by themselves first. Okay, let me just say, you hear how like nice the snare sounds in that overheads, in those overheads? Don't forget that a really good drum sound isn't just about the direct mics. It's also about what you're getting out of the overheads and rooms. Here are more overheads by themselves. Very nice. I want to hear our ambient room real quick. That sounds like mid-distance. Because, you know, this is the ambient far. I'm going to guess that that's a closer one. Yes, that is definitely far. Let's hear this MS room. God, those drums sound great in there. All right, looks like we have a China left and right, and this drummer does like to ride on those Chinas. So I've got to find a spot. Nice stack. Looks like the stack has already been cleaned out for you. That's cool. Not overdubbed, just cleaned out. You know, the space between the hits. You might want to do that for the splash as well. Clearly, you need to find where the splash even hits. So, it's a little time consuming, but I would do it. Just go through here and find where those things take place and cut out everything else. Like, for instance, there is a china. Clearly, you can see it right there because it's thicker, but you can hear it too. And we got a hat and a ride. And like I said before, the hat sounded great with all the rooms before, but let's hear it by itself once we get to a hi-hat part. There we go. That's good. And, there's plenty of hat in the overheads already. But it sounds more roomy and distant. Of course, it's going to be the same thing in the rooms. With this hi-hat mic, you can definitely get all the detail out of it. And really, that's what all these close mics are for. They're for the articulations and for the extra detail that you're just not going to get by having the overheads by themselves. All right, let's check out these toms. So, Jacob did record, like I said, tom tops and bottoms. I personally have always recorded tom bottoms, but they're not necessary, but they're cool because they just add more roundness and depth to your tom, so I use them. Nice! I love it when that happens. These are, wow, it goes pretty low on the floor tom. These already are cleaned, which is cool. And okay, so let me just point out that one thing that he did do, which is smart, is that since there's a gap right here, he did let the toms ring out over the gap because they would sound unnatural if you cut them short. However, in parts like this, they were cut much shorter, and that's okay because the sustain does keep going in the overheads and the rooms, so you do still hear those toms sustaining, but you just don't keep the close mic going as long. However, that changes when you have a part that carries over a gap. You let the sustain just go. Let me turn up the rooms as well in here so you can hear what I mean. Let me point one more thing out. This drummer has, this is more, this isn't the showiest music on earth, but this drummer has a lot of details in what he's playing. He does lots of ghost notes and lots of little articulations, and you're going to have to bring them out. So I highly suggest that even if you plan on using a sample on this song, sure, go ahead, use a sample. Why not? But whatever you do, make sure that you bring out those subtle articulations in the snare because they make it tasty. Stuff like that. Don't mess that up. All right, let's see what else we got. Got a bass DI. Let me just say right off the bat, that bass player's playing really hard. I like that. Kudos. I mean, obviously, you're going to want to throw a sim or reamp that or whatnot, but you have the ingredients of a really good bass tone, and I can tell that it's playing really heavy, sounds really good. It's doing what the bass needs to do for this style of music. It's just holding it down. It's funny. I've heard people, you know, maybe talk a little bit of shit about bass in metal and, you know, how it's so simple or just following the rhythms or whatnot. And in my opinion, bass is the secret weapon for a great metal recording, song, arrangement, whatever you want to say. And it's parts like these where great bass players shine, because it might sound like that's easy to do, but first of all, you know, there's a few conditions that need to be met in order for that to even happen. First of all, ego needs to be out of the equation, because I have met plenty of bass players who want to just make parts like that super complex instead of hold it down. So first of all, you need someone with the right personality. Second of all, they need to play with just the right feel and power, so that they not just are playing the foundational notes, but it feels like the foundation. And that only comes from a solid performance. And then next, this is all about bringing out the vocals, right? I mean, look how many vocals we have on this part. This is an insanely catchy chorus, and you gotta let the vocals shine. Basically, you're setting the foundation for these vocals to shine. And if you're doing a lot of fancy stuff, you're going to get in the way. And you're going to handicap your song, in my opinion. So, in my opinion, this is some great bass playing, great arrangement. Everything it needs to be. All right. So, same thing with this guitar player. Like, this guitar player knows what's required, and he does not do what's not required. And I really respect that. It's actually being really good at riffs to where they sound great is really hard. And if you want to know what I mean, just go watch a cover band try to play Back in Black by AC/DC or Walk by Pantera, and you'll notice that they just about always sound like total garbage, and those are the most simple riffs on earth, and they're nearly impossible to recreate. Why? Because that kind of stuff is not nearly as easy as it sounds. It's simple, but it's not easy, okay? There's a difference between simple and easy. It's definitely not easy. If it was easy, other people would sound really good when they cover it, but they don't. It's not easy. And the other thing is, it takes a special person, a great musician, to know the right part to play for the song and to just make it sound great. This guitar player does that, and I really respect that. So we've got DI and an amp track, and that's it. 2 rhythms. See, with some drums. Yeah, and again, so this is just accompaniment, not just accompaniment, but this is the, you know, if you want the definition of rhythm guitar, you can play this song. It's doing exactly what it needs to do. Like I said, just like the bass, to set the foundation for those incredible vocals. And I love how they just work as a unit. This rhythm section works as a unit. Check this out. It like I was saying about the drums, they don't need to be fancy. They just need to be the right parts. And when you put the bass and the guitars playing the fill with it right into this final chorus, it's just so good. It's little details like that that maketh a band great. One more time, I love it. And by the way, they're not just on autopilot, okay? These are all very intentional decisions. If they were just on autopilot, then right there where the fill led into the bridge, they would have done some, this stuff. But they're not. Before the bridge, they let the drums play by themselves and then came in. Which is much heavier right there. It makes perfect sense. But, it's harder to play the right part than to play a complicated part. Awesome. All right, let's check out these keyboards, synths. I'll play them by themselves at first. All right. This is a really good keyboard arrangement too, and might sound like I'm getting redundant here, but one of the ways that people really mess up keyboard arrangements in this style of music is they try to do way too much, or they have really cheesy sounds or whatnot. But typically, they'll get carried away and they'll try to do way too much and it just interferes. This is really well put together in a way that just complements everything else that's going on. It sticks out, but it also supports it. It's just really well done. And see what we've got. So we've got leads. Pads. Looks like something called keys to go with the pad. That's cool. And then this fat bass. And then these subs. And that's it. Okay? You don't need that much more. You don't need any more, really. It is what it is, and it plays its role. Just remember, with that old 8-bit Nintendo music, that just sounded so great, and it's just so classic, that only had 3 voices. Okay, so I'm going to play drums, bass, rhythm guitars, and these keyboards, and just listen how well it all works together. It's dense, it's heavy. I mean, in the final mix, it sounds incredible, but it grooves. And there's a lot going on. It's interesting sounding. However, it's leaving space for the vocals. And That's great. Moment we've all been waiting for, the vocals. So we've got a lot of vocals and 3 vocalists, like I said. Let's see what we're working with. So we've absolutely got the main vocal, then double, probably a harmony here. That's the verse. It looks like just about every vocal has some sort of a double. And then the chorus just has a lot of stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Sorry, everybody. It's annoying, I know. I lost count, but I'm guessing that that's like 30-something tracks of vocals on that chorus. I'm going to solo the vocals just so that we can hear the vocal arrangement by itself, and we'll pick apart what's in here.
Inside us, a mathematic function I need. I'm monotonic, conquering the high life, hiding from the daylight. Sequences of feeding my, killing my correlation.
Searching for the borders of futuring disorder. I'm a like corruption amongst the population. Altering the skyline, deleted from the baseline. 365 be come with me, come with me, come with me, come with me.
365 in a day, that's how you know. Oh, it is.
They blend their voices so well. All right, let's hear this chorus.
365 in a day, that's how you know. It is hard to say no before you learn to let go. Come with me, come with me. 365 in a day to save my soul. Just keep on letting the days go. We keep on telling them no. The mission to divide.
All right, that chorus is going to stick in your head. I had never heard it before this. I had never heard this song before just Nail the Mix. And then, obviously I had to hear the song quite a few times. And after hearing it like 2 or 3 times, that chorus it sticks. It burrows its way into your brain and it doesn't leave. And that's a huge compliment. So let's see. I'm just curious, how many layers we got here of what? So...
365
all right. The guy.
365.
The double.
365 in a day.
All right, so tripled.
365.
All right. So obviously just octaves.
365.
Okay, so we already have 5 voices doing, well, octaves, but no harmonies yet.
365.
Still the same. That's 6.
365.
7. Okay, so we've got 7 voices singing the same part note-wise. Back in one, dupe. Let's see what that is.
365.
All right, so we have our first harmony.
365.
And a double of it.
365.
And another.
365.
And another.
365. 365.
So far, that's 6.
365.
7.
365.
8. This is awesome. So, 8 layers of one note.
365. 365. 365. 365 in a day, that's how you know. It is hard to say no.
And that's why it sounds so huge.
365.
There is a lot going on in this mix, and I think that one of the challenging things is going to be to not get carried away with the vocals. And the reason I say that's going to be challenging is because obviously the vocals need to be out in front leading this ship, but you can't go too far with them. And I mean, you can't have them so loud that they take away the heaviness or they take away the groove or anything like that. I'm saying that because I've heard some student mixes already where that happens. So you need to have them at just the right level. And when you have 30 plus simultaneous vocals going at it, it's going to be really easy to overmix this. But you have to have it be in the lead because, I mean, that's what this is all about. All the other instruments were put together meticulously to support this vocal onslaught. And also, you know, you can't lose the other instruments. So got your work cut out for you. And this growl vocalist sounds great too, by the way.
And now you go with me. Follow me. Go with me. And put down before me.
That chorus is something else. That is a really clever arrangement that when she does the non-spoken, the non-lyric vocal, it's just a main and a double. There's a nice contrast to this wall of vocals.
6, 5.
Okay, so this is an effect track. This is not meant to be down here, but whatever. We'll leave it here for now because we're making this video, but
It is hard to say no.
this is cool. It's like the chorus all over again, but stripped down.
3, 6, 5 in a day, that's how you know. It is hard.
What is that? Sounds like there's a programmed drum in there too. Let me find it.
That's how.
All right, that is so cool. I love that. This is so creative.
3, 6, 5 in a day, that's how you know. It is hard to say no before you learn to let go. Go, 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 go.
3, 6, 5 in a day, that's how you know. It is hard to say no before you learn to let go. Come with me.
When you mix this, make sure you don't just find yourself listening to the chorus over and over and over and over again instead of mixing. You need to actually mix it. Anyways, this is Eyal Levi unboxing 365 by Amaranthe, which was produced and mixed by Jacob Hansen, and which is appearing on March 2019 Nail the Mix. If you like this, click below to subscribe, and happy mixing.